G'day viewers. Now, there wouldn't be a day goes by that I don't get pissed off with some moron posting something utterly ridiculous online. It probably pisses me off more that they tend to do it with a tone that suggests they think they're revealing some great truth, where all they're revealing is they don't think before they vomit stuff out. And I don't mean people I disagree with. I mean people who post things that, unless you're pathologically stupid, just a few seconds of rational thought would reveal to you this is bullshit. If they engage the tiniest part of their cognitive brain function before posting, they'd know, oh, don't post that. That's kind of bullshit. Sometimes I think about, well, why don't people think before they post things? I guess it isn't as though they get punished for saying stupid things. And they have all these role models in the media and in the major political parties who should be punished for talking shit, but don't. So when that's the example you see, why would you waste time thinking? Now, weirdly, this is where I start sounding like an idealist, because I truly believe when you think, you become a better person. You create more good in the world when you think about what it is you're doing and saying. And believe it or not, I'm mature enough to accept there are people who see the world differently to me. They want different things to me. They place values on different things to me. That's part of being human, the fact that people are different. But if I can tear apart your bullshit with a single sentence, you probably need to shut the fuck up. Now, my latest bout of frustration was triggered by a young man on Twitter who declared that feminists think all vaginal sex, penis in vagina sex, is rape. Now, my first reaction was to ignore this. Bullshit this ridiculous doesn't deserve a response. But then he did it again, tweeted, oh, watch this video, revealed the truth. All feminists think that penis in vagina sex is rape. I give up. And like, okay, I really don't like having my Twitter feed polluted with shit like this. Yes, I could have easily unfollowed him, and in a lot of cases, that's what I do. But I was actually giving him the benefit of the doubt. I assumed he wasn't quite as stupid as he was coming across and could be reasoned with. So I responded to him in what was a really restrained way for me and said, you're talking utter fucking horseshit. You know that, right? Feminists do not say that. They just don't. Now, his response was to link me to a blog that was the source of his ire, and this blog is obviously written by a seriously damaged individual. Or maybe it's written by a dude who's trying to discredit feminists. Or maybe it is written by a female, but she's so desperate for notoriety, she's one of those people who falls into the trap of thinking all attention is good attention. No matter who writes it, it's complete fucking drivel, and it tells you nothing about the feminist movement as a whole. I am always slightly amused by people who say that. When you pick on their politics or view on something, they find one person from a group who reinforces what they're declaring to be true. See, I found one person from that group who said that thing. Therefore, everything I said is true. Like, well, by that token, everything I say is true for all white guys. Not true, but for some reason, people often think that's a legitimate thing to say. Seriously, I can give you members of major political parties who actually believe there's a subterranean race of shape-shifting lizards who hold every position of power in the world. Does that mean everyone in those political parties is that fucking stupid? Maybe some people think that's logic. You see, here's where someone who doesn't think is at the mercy of someone who does think. When someone says or does something I disagree with, I don't simply focus on their words. I consider their motivation as well. And I focus on what they've actually said, not what they think they've said or not what they try and represent that they've said. You see, this guy got his news from a video, but he gave me a link to a written blog, a really obscure blog written by someone who claims to be a rad femme, and that's all he needs to know. But I knew he wouldn't have just stumbled over this, so I said, okay, what was your source? And so he linked me to the video, which was done by a very famous neckbeard anti-feminist on YouTube, who I won't dignify with a link. The video makes the same ridiculous assertion because I found one person who calls themselves RadFem who says this. I can therefore say, feminists say all penis in vagina sex is rape. And the comments on the video are just a parade of horror. For every one person saying, get real, this is not even remotely representative of the feminist movement, there are dozens going, yes it is! Feminists, they just hate us! That's the problem, the only problem is they hate us! And this is where motivation becomes important. What's the video maker's motivation for making this? He's not an unintelligent person, so why does he make a statement that is so obviously not true? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he knows for a fact the statements feminists say vaginal sex is rape is simply not true. But he goes ahead anyway and makes an untrue, inflammatory statement that he knows will whip his reasonably large following into a frenzy. Why is he doing this? Is it a quest for notoriety? Is it that he really hates feminists and he doesn't care if he has to lie to score points? Or is he just a completely insecure fuckwit who can't face to his own failings and wants to blame everything that's wrong in his miserable fucked life on someone else? Who knows? Maybe a combination. But if you've repeated this lie or similar lies without thinking about it, what's your motivation? Now, the young man who triggered this rant acknowledged, after I pulled him up, that the statement, feminists think vaginal sex is rape, isn't true. But he tweeted it multiple times and he enjoyed the video. So what's the motivation in spreading ridiculous, untrue stereotypes with no critical thought? And of course, you can find examples. People of every gender, creed, political persuasion are guilty of doing this at one time or another. So that's not an excuse for you doing it. That's a cop-out. Pointing out someone else being a fuckwit doesn't excuse you being a fuckwit. That just means you're both fuckwits. So consider that my challenge for 2014. Think. Think some more. Don't stop thinking. Be confident enough to acknowledge your own errors when someone points them out. You'll never know everything, so stop pretending you do. As soon as you think you can draw a line under something and go, I know everything about that, that's when you start moving backwards. You don't stagnate, you regress. So don't do that. Keep on thinking and keep the bullshit to a minimum.